What a day we had in sports. Sunday at the Masters never disappoints. Patrick Reed, love him or hate him. I'm Bruce of Sports Talk with Spencer. Jake, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was a terrific day at Augusta National today. Patrick Reed. I happen to love Patrick Reed because so many people don't like Patrick Reed. And I thought it was a wild, wild day today. A lot of fireworks on the back nine. And it was absolutely terrific to see. So just going to get my Periscope started, Bruce. And what did you think, though, of the day at Augusta today?
Well, I thought there were a lot of really good subplots. One is Jordan Spieth played a route for the ages. Basically missed a little putt, showing you the imperfection of golf on the 18th hole that may have sent him into a playoff. But was ice down the stretch. Ricky Fowler's a guy who's always a bridesmaid, but he ended up with a beautiful birdie on the 18th hole, gave him every chance of going into a playoff, and sadly, it wasn't good enough. It was Patrick Reed's tournament. Patrick Reed is a fiery guy from the wrong side of Augusta, and also a Texas guy. And I'd like to see underdogs. I like Americans. So he's brash, and love him or hate him, I love him.
Mm-hmm. You love him indeed, and we're set here. We're officially on Periscope now, I believe, so everybody can go ahead and follow us at Rover Sports on Periscope as well.
How do people, when you say follow us, how do you do that?
Well, the people on Periscope that are going to be watching, they're just probably funneling in right now. If you click the follow button, you can follow all of our broadcasts. We talk all kinds of sports here on this program. And today in April,
but one
this
question
is the time of the Masters.
How are they going to become followers, though? Are they going to have to go on Facebook?
Well, there's a follow button. When you see our Rover Sports icon, if you're watching on Periscope, there's a follow button. You click on our profile, and you can click on our profile at any time. We have 162 followers, and people can follow us that way.
By the way, I knew that answer. Continue, please.
You asked me to explain it. So
I did. Not that I didn't know.
I was explaining it.
You explained it
for
well.
the people that might not have any idea what that means.
Of course.
So, today, I was following Patrick all week. I really like Patrick Reed because I can relate to the people that nobody likes. And I think that Patrick Reed has for a long time been hated on by a lot of people. Because I think that he tried to steal Tiger's swag maybe with the red shirt. Maybe he's a little bit overweight, but people didn't like him because at Georgia he allegedly would steal putters and sell them for money of his college teammates. He would go out and cheat and have scores. His family, his own parents,
he posted fictitious scores.
His own parents can't even watch him play because he kicked them out of his own tournament. So he has a lot of enemies in this world. And that is why people do not like Patrick Reed.
You know who his friend is, though? His wife and his close friends and his close followers.
And his wife's
He's also
friends.
well-liked. He's also well-liked on tour.
And well, Ricky Fowler waited for him, man.
And I thought Ricky really showed a lot of class.
And I think it's a redemption story, but when you look at guys that are successful in sports, a lot of them thrive off of one thing. And this is something that could be, taken into account for all of life. And people thrive off of not caring what other people think. And that's what Patrick Reed does so well. I think Kobe Bryant's another athlete that didn't really care about his perception that much. Michael Jordan definitely didn't care about his perception that much. And the athletes that spend time worrying about what other people are thinking usually get too nervous and rattled themselves. And Patrick Reed, he has the power to block out everybody because the whole world was against him, but he stayed in his own little bubble, and that's where athletes thrive. I mean, Patrick Reed wants the attention. He wants everybody hating him. And when you look at all walks of life, when you look at successful people, a lot of times people that are very successful have the ability to not be scared of failing and not be scared of being embarrassed. And Patrick Reed, he isn't scared of anybody or anything, and he wants the center of attention and the spotlight, and that's what makes him so great, I think.
He's been very brash. He's had a great record for the Ryder Cup team for the United States. He's a fine American, and a lot of that brashness and that excitement You saw the way he was slapping hands with the gallery, and just a guy that you'd like to root for. And I personally like to see new majors winners, and him or Ricky would have been happy to see either one win.
Yeah.
I know Fowler's getting close. He's going to do it, but this was not his day.
Should we set up a Facebook Live?
Sure.
Okay, you could go and title it, and then you could go ahead and put it on the you can go ahead and put it on that camera over there.
So
Take off your
there's going to
headphones
be
for a
I got
second.
it. I don't need
But
to.
I want to basically describe the journey. I'm going to wait actually until you title this because we're going to be here for definitely a long while.
Well, I think while we're doing this, I think we need to switch gears. We, as Rover Sports, we're here in Philly. It's a city of winners, Super Bowl champs,
Yep.
Villanova College champs, and the Philadelphia Sixers. We attended the game against the Mavericks.
Yeah.
We saw J.J. Redick and Doug McDermott having a really good scrap out there.
Yeah.
And we had front row seats for it. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Sixers team. How did they win 14 straight?
The Sixers are winning because the Eastern Conference is so weak, but also because J.J. Redick has gotten so much better at basketball. I mean, over this year, he's playing his best basketball at 34 years old. If I was voting, he'd be a top 10, top 15 guy in the NBA because he is like C.J. McCollum. And people don't think of J.J. Redick like C.J. McCollum, but this guy can create his own shot. He can shoot on the move. His ball handling is exceptional now, and he can hit off-bounce shots. J.J. used to be a spot-up shooter in Orlando. He used to be a guy that in Los Angeles would have to rely on Chris Paul getting him the basketball and Austin Rivers giving it to him, on Jamal Crawford playing iso ball. He's finally on a team where he can take the onus upon him to get buckets, and there's nobody that can stand in front of him and stop him. I mean, the guy can hit from any angle. You have Ersan Ilyasova playing at an incredible level. Press the blue button, please. Press the blue. Here.
We'll do it.
Press it. The blue.
But you got it. We're going to introduce the new people coming in.
Let's see. Are we on? We are going. Wait, we're having connection issues. And now we're live. So far, we are good. We are on Facebook Live now. We want to welcome in everybody here, Bruce the Sports Doc, all of his friends. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I think we have enough headroom there. And we're now officially on 3 platforms. Thank you guys for following the stream here. This is a really cool setup that we have. And Bruce, welcome in your brethren here.
Want to welcome everybody into Facebook Live, Periscope, Twitter, and everything else. Today was a hell of a day. Today was Masters Sunday, a beautiful day at Augusta. The sun was shining bright, and as always, it didn't disappoint us. It went down to the last hole, as it seems to all the time. Patrick Reed, a new majors winner, won the Masters, and he was being trailed closely by Ricky Fowler, birdieing the 18th hole, which is straight uphill and a very difficult hole. And I thought it just might have been time for Ricky to overcome, but it was not his day. And also Jordan Spieth shooting 8 under, almost tying the course record in the Masters, and would have exceeded it for a last round of the Masters. And again, a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see 3 Americans at the top.
It really is. It's great to see the Americans. I like that Henrik Stenson didn't catch fire. Something about Henrik Stenson, like you're allowed to root for some guys, and Rory really failed today. I mean, Rory McIlroy was a guy that, I had high expectations for going into the day, and he had an issue where he was so nervous he couldn't turn his shoulder through the golf ball. I mean, he was blocking everything right of the moon.
His little block party.
I mean, his putter was awful. I think he had some yips. I think his hands were tingling a bit. And he kept on missing putts right of the hole because his hands were so damn nervous it wouldn't stop twitching. So
he wasn't releasing the putter head.
No, and Patrick Reed outdueled Rory. Rory wasn't the same Rory. His putting wasn't in command. His driving was awful. And he was able to stay at 9 under par and make some money out of the deal, but he just didn't bring it today. And Patrick Reed really was there for the taking. I mean, Patrick Reed, that putt on 12 really saved the day because Patrick Reed was a guy. And how are you doing? Brett Gann, McIntyre, and Georgia Bulldog fans welcoming us here on Facebook. I mean, when you look at Patrick Reed, that putt on 12, that was like a 20-footer, and that was absolutely just a bomb that he had to make. On the par 5s, Reed's been killing it all week. He went even on the par fives today.
He did a little bit
you
of
saw
Tiger
that shot.
action.
He almost dumped it in the water on 13. His chip shot was nervous. He didn't accelerate the chip. So then he had like an 8-footer. He missed that. And then on 15, he had a great drive. But then
Did he hit it right into the? I think on one of the holes he had to chip out. Which hole was that?
No, he actually
17, I think. Right.
Let me think about what he did on 15 a second. No, he might have pulled his drive left. And then he had to lay up. That's what it was. And then he had a putt of about 8 feet that he missed. So he couldn't even get home in 2 because his drives were errant on the par 5s. But you look at Patrick, I mean, the putt on 14 for birdie was huge. He birdied 12 and 14. He had the par save at 17, which was absolutely enormous. The guy 2-putted. He didn't fall apart. He still kept in control, even though Spieth was charging all day long. I mean, it was absolutely insane.
Spieth was buried. He came back from the dead, and unfortunately, Jordan missed a very makeable putt on the 18th hole. We could be talking about a playoff right now.
That drive, though, was horrible. I mean, that hit a tree. It went 100 yards, you know. We could say a word that we can't say on here because we're not – we'll just call it – it's called a D out. You know, we call that a D out, you know, when we play.
In other words,
you can't hit past the ladies' tees.
Yeah, I think all the golfing people know exactly what that means.
D out,
he didn't hit it past the ladies' tees. He chipped out. And he had an incredible. How long was the shot uphill? It was over 300 yards.
He took a hybrid. He hit it well.
Yeah, but he couldn't have gotten there.
The chip shot was perfect. I mean, he couldn't have played any better from that point. So the thing about Spieth is that he's an assassin. You know, like every hole he expects to birdie. Where Ricky Fowler, he's not the same kind of putter Jordan Spieth is. He doesn't have the same length. And Jordan Spieth, that putt on 16 was incredible. The putt on 9, he was dialed in all day long. The par 5s he handled with complete ease. He almost eagled 13. So Spieth was just great. But Patrick Reed's a killer, man. Patrick Reed's going to be here to stay because he doesn't care about anybody. He has an assassin mentality. He has the Kobe mentality. He has the clutch gene. And Patrick Reed, he loves when everybody's against him, you know? I'm trying to think of an athlete in football that just loves silencing the crowd. Like, who loves going on the road and laying whippings on the road? What an old school player.
Aaron Rodgers, I think, is one of those kind of guys. He's a gunslinger. He doesn't get afraid wherever he is. Right. He's the same guy. We could also think of other people.
Favre, when he came back to Lambeau Field, was an all-time performance.
You could also think of beast mode. That guy doesn't back down wherever he is.
Yeah.
And you got to respect that from him.
Oh, he's tremendous. Skittles, beast mode. How about Kobe Bryant?
Kobe's the same. He loves coming back to his hometown in Philly, and he loves silencing the crowd.
MJ at the Garden, Reggie Miller at the Garden. I mean, Reggie Miller, too, is a good example. But
we can think of a lot of people. How about Steph Curry? He loves to silence the crowd, and he's a very brash guy, too.
He does. And
we had a question from Leonard. He says here, are the Sixers, they have 2 more games to play. We were at both of the games, the Cavs game and the Mavs game.
Sure. 2
amazing games. I was surprised, too, with the Masters on against the Mavericks, not an exciting team. There was the Wells Fargo Center was 80% filled.
Yeah.
It was loud, and they looked good. They were without Joel Embiid, and guess what? Fultz continues to get better and better. Unfortunately, he's taking minutes from T.J. McConnell.
Right.
And that looks like that's going to be something. We listened to Keith Pompey today, and it seems like that's going to be a trend. It looks like Fultz, the number 1 pick, is going to get more minutes. And guys like Justin Anderson and T.J. McConnell are going to be.
What do you think about T.J. McConnell not playing minutes, Bruce? Well, I mean, how does that sit with you?
Well, it's a reality. The fact is, Fultz is the future. He's playing great. That is, he's playing within himself. He still hasn't taken a 3-point shot. But the question Leonard has, our friend on Facebook, is: are they going to win out? Hell yeah, they're going to be 52 and 40.
Do you think that they'll beat the Bucks?
52 and 30.
They have to beat Atlanta on the road, and then they have to beat the Bucks at home. Which game? I
think they'll win Atlanta on the road.
Atlanta on the road's a tougher game.
The question is, Bucks It depends if it'll have any bearing on the standings.
I don't think that the Bucks can beat the Sixers at home. They don't have enough firepower. It's just the Greek Freak. They have no point guard. Their head coach
But
hasn't
you're without
been solved.
Embiid. I disagree.
They ran off Jason
I think
Kidd.
without your rim protector, the Greek Freak is just that. He's gonna go off for like 40 against.
But you look at
Sixers.
the guards. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon's still hurt. Jabari Parker's just coming back. I mean, the Bucks just haven't found their identity. They haven't found their head coach.
Welcome, Thomas.
Malcolm Brogdon's had a real slow year this year. So I look at the Sixers, though, and I disagree with some points about Markelle Fultz. I don't think you should reward Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz has been out all year long. TJ's had to sit through this entire destruction done by Sam Hinkie. Like, you can't just throw him aside. He's been through all the muck. Like, you can't just dog a guy that's been there from the beginning. He's the heart and soul of this team, and you can't just give him no minutes. You have to put TJ in there at least 10 minutes because he is your emotional leader. He's the best defender on the team. He's improved immensely. He's worked his tail off. And what does that say to you?
Hey,
what
John.
does that say to your teammates? What does that say to the culture that the hardest working guy in the organization is just casted aside by a guy in Markelle Fultz that can't shoot yet, that just got here, that hasn't played all year long? That wouldn't sit well with me. It shouldn't sit well with the fan base. And for Brett Brown, he just throws guys away like Justin Anderson and TJ McConnell.
This is my opinion. You've got to take it game by game. Today, the flow of the game, Fultz just had a lot of speed. Dallas looked a little bit slow. But there are times when you need a lockdown guard. So I think TJ should get some minutes. But obviously with Bellinelli has been shooting the lights out. So obviously Bellinelli has taken minutes.
Yeah, but he's not a point guard.
JJ doesn't matter. He's a shooting guard. So the fact of the matter is, as far as the energy, Bellinelli brings the emotion. He brings the energy. Ilyasova's taking minutes. Again, it's a different position. But you have a lot of these new guys taking minutes away from McConnell. So I think when you need a lockdown guy, when you need energy, McConnell's a guy. They didn't need him today. They won comfortably. They won going away, admittedly, against a Mavericks team without Dirk Nowitzki. Certainly you saw Harrison Barnes had a good game.
Yeah.
Dougie McDermott, our friend from Creighton, had a nice game. He had 10 points.
I like that he was shooting. I mean, I want to see Doug stop posting up in the corner. I want to see him take the ball from the middle of the floor. He's always in the corner. I want to see Doug actually be more aggressive, hunt shots more. But I look at TJ. TJ's got to play. I mean, Justin Anderson just got here. TLC's basically a French guy who just got here.
He's still a French guy. That's what we call TLC.
When I think of the 76ers and I think of everything that's gone on with how just toxic the environment is, TJ's a last survivor. He should be a guy that when this whole thing's said and done, he's the last one standing. He is Sixers basketball. He's what fans in this city love. And for Brett Brown to not play him a minute, this was the first time
he actually did play him a minute, though.
I mean,
1 minute.
He
didn't play him more than that, though.
Treats TJ McConnell like he treated a pile of dog crap. That is so wrong on so many levels. You can't treat guys like robots. TJ McConnell should have special privileges because he's been here through it all. He isn't.
Is he going to take Fultz's minutes?
I would at least definitely play him the equal amount of Fultz. I mean, Fultz, he's not even that great.
Your thoughts out there.
He's a guy that's up and down, okay? He can make a couple shots here and there. Just because Fultz is the #1 pick and this is a future thing.
But Fultz has something. He has incredible speed. He's getting his legs under him.
TJ has
he had a
speed
few.
too.
Okay, that's true. But Fultz is developing a mid-range jumper, and he's developing confidence. He played great against the Cavs. Okay, much more valuable against the Cavs than TJ McConnell, in my opinion. But that's what's great about Rover Sports. We don't always disagree.
But the thing
we
is,
always disagree.
Versus the Dallas Mavericks, to not play the original guy who started this thing, that really rubbed me the wrong way.
It's one game. It's a marathon,
I think
not
it's going to be a
sprint.
pattern because Justin Anderson don't play anymore. Nick Stauskas did not play. Brett Brown just tosses guys.
He can't even play for the Brooklyn Nets.
Brett Brown just tosses guys to the scrap heap. I mean, he does.
I think that's an overstatement. But let's continue. Tell me about Fultz. Let's forget about McConnell for a moment.
Yeah.
What do you see in Fultz? You saw both games. You attended it.
I see a guy that's long, can get to the hole. I see a guy with a really good spin move, definitely his best part of his game. I see a guy that dribbles, can pass decently well. Sometimes he's overly aggressive. Sometimes he'll drive a little bit out of control, but that's to be expected from a first-year guy. He brings good aggression, very good teammate. Very good teammate. Just because I'm talking about TJ McConnell doesn't mean that Markelle Fultz is not a great teammate. Markel's a team-first guy. He is a spark off the bench, and I think he does have upside. I do. That jump shot is still very much a work in progress. His passing and vision can improve with more reps, but throughout these playoffs, he's going to be used as a Lou Williams type of guy. He's going to be playing at most 10 to 15 minutes a ball game probably in these playoffs. I mean, would you play Markelle? How much would you play him in these playoffs? And or what are you worried about with Markelle? What do you like about Markelle?
Well, what I see is when Simmons goes out, he's going to be taking minutes from McConnell. What I like about him is I see his confidence improving every game. I see great speed. He also doesn't turn the ball over. He's got really good handles, and he is a good passer. So for a rookie, when Simmons is out of there, I'd like to see Fultz come in. And he's developing, and he's great around the rim. Much like Ben Simmons, who is, we need to spend more time talking about him, who is your Rookie of the Year. Today we saw Dennis Smith Jr., who I was impressed with. He's got a very interesting game. Let's talk about him for a moment.
Yeah, I think that Dennis Smith is a guy.
Welcome, Dr. Lewis. Good game today. We attended the Mavs. We attended the Mavs game today. A nice 1 o'clock start.
I love the 1 o'clock
Just in time
game.
to settle in for Great Masters for another American, Patrick Reed. Your comments, Dr. Lewis, are over. Hope you had a good day. You enjoy. It still doesn't. It doesn't feel like springtime around here. Still cold here in Philly land, but nonetheless, spring is around the corner. Dr. Lewis, I hope you enjoyed your day.
I hope Dr. Lewis enjoyed his day as well. And I look at, there's no golf to really be played in Philly town. It's way too cold. But I like the matinee games on Sunday. I really do. It gives you the rest of the day to do things.
Nice crowd there, about 80% filled against the Mavs. Mavs admittedly have a bad record, but it was a pretty exciting game. Harrison Barnes had a good game.
Yeah.
Dougie McDermott pulled up with 10 points. But look at Ben Simmons. He was on cruise control. You know, you could see Ben scored just with seemingly without trying. Amazing passer, great vision. Bellinelli made some shots against the Cavs. He's heating up. J.J. Redick's the third best guy on the team. I think they should sign J.J.
Do you think that the NBA hates Ben Simmons, like players in the NBA? Because he doesn't seem to get the respect. I think as a rookie, Kyle Lowry wanted to fight Ben Simmons. He wanted to put his face right up in his face, okay? So Kyle Lowry, he never gets in a fight with anybody. He's a Nova kid. And Ben Simmons seems to have this arrogance. Maybe it's because he doesn't talk at all. I love Ben Simmons. He's like Patrick Reed. I love Ben Simmons. But around the NBA, he is not well liked. Maybe I think it's jealousy. LeBron James is basically, you know, like riding this guy, saying like Ben Simmons is my son, saying he's the prince of the NBA. And Ben deserves it. Out of anyone to start a franchise with, this guy has the longest arms in the NBA, which as a general manager I'd look for. And Ben Simmons, Bruce, what can't he do? He can get to the rim at any time. His footwork is incredible. I mean, there were people on this planet and in this state, they wanted to draft Brandon Ingram over this guy, Ben Simmons.
That would have been a huge mistake.
And what do you think of Ben Simmons? What were you worried about with Ben Simmons when the Sixers took him number one?
The one thing I was worried about, which is really unusual, is the fact that he doesn't like shooting. So as much as Fultz might have had an aversion, a fear, a phobia, whatever you want to say, you know, Simmons, he can handle it. It's almost, I've never seen a guard who liked to shoot less. And I'm talking, I've seen some bad players. So that was my worry, but the worry is assuaged because Ben Simmons has, within 10 feet of the basket, can make the shot.
Right.
Incredible moves around the rim, a great passer, a lot of dunks. But one interesting point about Ben that we have to bring is that J.J. Redick believes that he's a natural right-handed shooter. That if you look at Ben, he's very ambidextrous, and Redick is trying to get in his ear and try to get him to shoot right-handed instead of left-handed. That's really unusual, guys. What do you think about that? I can't remember that ever happening.
I've never seen a player
have you ever heard of that situation?
Ever switch hands to shoot? Have you?
Well, I don't know. I haven't. Certainly not a marquee player.
Did Greg Monroe? I mean, who?
There are ambidextrous players. For instance, let's go back to golf for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Mickelson's a righty.
Right.
But he learned how to play the game left-handed because he wanted his lead arm to be the stronger arm. That's the way he was taught.
Who else?
So, but in basketball, I can't think of anybody.
Chase Utley in baseball?
Well, we can't talk about Schwartz hitters. It's a different sport. But in basketball, have we seen a guy change handedness with a shot?
No.
So, but I thought that was interesting. That was on the JJ Redick podcast, and he's a great podcaster. We certainly follows the JJ.
He's smooth. He's really good.
He's a smooth cat.
I wanted to ask you, I want to talk about the Masters, and then I want to talk about the NBA playoffs.
Sure.
And then I want to talk about the totality of these playoffs coming up.
See, are we the only show that bounces from golf to Sixers basketball?
Probably.
Hell
and
yeah.
there might be a show that talks about WrestleMania also.
Yep, and I'll let you handle that.
You're the WrestleMania
guy.
And then how about the spring games?
You could talk about the spring games.
Arkansas spring games, with Chad Morris there. So much energy, so much pop. We could certainly talk about Dan Mullen in Florida.
How about if we do a little – we're going to do a little Dan Mullen interview.
Yeah, let's do it.
For any of you guys that don't know it, you should look this guy up. His name's Dan Mullen, formerly Mississippi State Bulldog.
Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania.
Drexel Hill. This guy is a great personality.
Ursinus College.
And he's now the coach of the Florida Gators, the football coach. Mm-hmm. And his interviews are always gold. So let's give him just a little snippet. Ready?
Yeah.
So, Dan Mullen, you just watched the spring game, okay? It was a high-scoring game. Now, you saw the whole game. Do you take anything positive out of the game that you just watched?
Not really. It was choppy. It was up and down. Our quarterbacks did okay in spots, but I want clean football. I want our guys to be able, I want smooth. We had a couple of drives where we took the football and we had explosive plays, but then we'd go 3 and out and interception. So our guys are trying hard. It's not effort, but I just want consistency out of our guys. And that's what we're going to teach our guys, because you're one play from being great, but you're also one play from going down in the you-know-what. So I told that to Dak Prescott. I told that to a lot of guys that I had. There's a couple of things that I wanted to fix with our guys, just a couple of things. But overall, our guys are really competing. I like the energy, but they just need to learn to settle down. They just need to
Thanks, Dan. So let's switch gears. Let's go back to the Masters. Give us a little summary. Just summarize the day. You watched.
I love that Patrick Reed won. I was with him since Thursday. I was watching him with Charlie Hoffman and Adam Heyman of Canada. I was with this guy the whole time, and on Friday,
with him, you mean you were following?
Watching him.
You weren't with him, though. Let's be clear.
I was trying to follow the Amen Corner app because they don't show the golfers playing in the Masters. So if you want to follow a guy, unless it's Tiger Woods or one of the marquee guys, you have to follow the shot tracker online, or you have to catch him on Amen Corner. And Patrick Reed on Friday, he's a guy that can catch fire. He hits the ball far. He hits a right-to-left shot. A great putter of the golf ball. Incredible confidence. He played at Augusta State. He knows the golf course. But this guy can heat up like no other. And he rattled off 3 birdies on Friday to get to 2 under to 5 under par. At that point, he was in the contest. And then on Saturday, you'll remember the stretch when I think he birdied maybe 4 or 5 holes. He chipped in on 8. I mean, Patrick Reed had spectacular shots, and Saturday really is what set him apart, Bruce,
I totally agree.
He grabbed that tournament.
And what happens in the Sun, there's always 3 or 4 players in contention.
Yeah.
And certainly Jordan Spieth came back.
How about Jordan Spieth?
Jordan Spieth was putting like ice. He had the swag, and I'm surprised that he missed the putt on 18.
On 13.
Just on 18.
Mm-hmm.
I think he misread the putt. I think he hit it where he was aiming.
Right.
Misread. I think everybody was disappointed.
Right.
I think we were thinking about a playoff between Spieth and Reed.
For all the putts that he made, 16, 12, 11, the guy had to have a near perfect day, and he was just incredible today. I mean, every single hole you expected a birdie out of this guy, because if it's within 15 feet, he can make 15-footers. Other guys play the lag putts. Spieth does not know lag. Lag is not in
Everything
his vocabulary.
In there. Back of the cup. If he misses the cup, he's going off the green. incredible confidence.
Incredible
And
confidence.
let's talk about
It's
Ricky
all
Fowler.
about putting.
Ricky
and
Fowler.
his game is not that flashy, but he does everything so well. His competitive edge is just remarkable. Jordan Spieth.
Now, Ricky Fowler is not the longest hitter on tour. He's actually a pretty short guy. He's about 5'8", 5'9", maybe.
5'8", 5'9",
And he probably weighs 160 pounds.
still get it out there, 295. It's because why do you think he can hit it that far as such a little guy?
Well, what I would say is he's got great lag. We've certainly looked at his swing.
How about the
He's
swing
got one of the
speed?
flattest. He's got one of the flattest swings you're going to see. Great swing speed.
Unbelievable.
But he was right there. He birdied the 18th hole. He was right there to go into a playoff. Little bit sad to see Ricky
Well, you know what,
not get his chance
Rick,
for a playoff.
throughout the day, though, he needs to seize control of this golf tournament. He
does cruise. Sometimes you see he gets
he
strings
never
apart.
plays with the lead.
He doesn't. You don't see him play with the
I want to see
lead.
him play with the lead. And Ricky never puts the death blow in. He's always hitting jabs. He'll occasionally throw a hook. When can Ricky Fowler Mike Tyson a tournament?
What's got to do? He's got to get over the hump. He's got to win a major. And
Yes.
and he's still, down the stretch.
Right.
I think that he feels uncomfortable with the lead. And I think that's part of it. But certainly
He loves kind of just being in the fray.
Well, I think he wants to be a winner. But in that kind of a sport with all the
I
competitive
think now
razor-sharp
this
nature
will
of
help him getting even
No,
more
I think
close.
he did. He birdied the 18th hole at the
The
Masters.
urgency.
I think he inched closer to being a
And I
majors
liked
champion.
how calm he was. I loved his demeanor. He
Also,
stayed the
he's a
course.
gentleman. And how about him and Patrick
Very
Reed at the end?
likable. Very
He
likable.
waited at the end. He was truly happy for his partner. Patrick Reed is certainly a European killer at the Ryder Cup. And I think he is well liked by most of his peers.
The one thing about Patrick Reed is that even though he made mistakes when he was
Welcome,
younger,
Sharon Bowling.
he is
Charter Rover. Rover at night. We are past the midnight hour here in the East. Philly, Rover Sports. I'm Bruce the Sports Doc, here with Spencer G. We have multiple cameras and multiple platforms here at our, I guess you could call it our home studio. We want to thank everybody. I don't know if can you take questions on Periscope? I don't think we're trying.
Patrick Reed is a guy that honestly can correct his mistakes, and he's probably treated people better in his life going forward, and that's why you see so many people on the tour that like him.
I think he's turned things around. He certainly had some unusual. He's had some quarrels with his own family. Some of them are epic. In college, he did some dumb things. A lot of collegiate people do dumb things.
Yeah.
Minor stuff like selling a putter that he might have had a 5-finger discount on it. Also, maybe posting a few extra scores. But he's on the PGA Tour now. You can't get away with that stuff anymore. And that stuff is long gone. And now he's a Masters champion wearing a big green jacket, I must say.
Yeah, a big one.
From the Jason Duffner endomorphic body habitus. Otherwise, he's got a few extra pounds on him. But we saw an epic finish. Beautiful day in Augusta. Everything was in bloom today.
Do you know that guy Leonard, Justin Leonard? Did he ever win a major? I think he might have won a Masters.
I think Justin Leonard won the British Open. I remember that.
Yeah.
But he was a little guy, not a long hitter.
Amazing putter.
But amazing putter. Kind of like a Ricky Fowler, but maybe even a shorter hitter.
Brian Curtis won the won the British. Trevor Immelman, if you remember.
When you think about Tom Watson,
winning.
Tom Watson is not a powerful guy. So I think of Tom as a guy with medium length, incredible short game, a winner of multiple British Opens, multiple majors, a Hall of Famer.
You know who else
that
won
is Tom
multiple
Watson.
majors?
Oh, you mean a Grand Slam of majors?
And he doesn't hit the ball far, but he's a magician.
Seve Ballesteros?
Zach Johnson.
Zach Johnson. Perfect
Iowa.
prototype. Zach, 5'8", much like
Iowa
Ricky Fowler.
native.
Not a big guy. Incredible short game. Not a long hitter.
Such a repeatable swing. Really flat, like you talked about.
Really nice
but with
guy.
the wedges, he is just a magic.
He's a great guy. I think
and
everybody.
he won the Masters.
Unlike Patrick Reed, where there are haters of Patrick Reed,
right.
There's no haters of Zach.
I don't think so.
Too nice of a guy.
Potty Harrington. A lot of guys are not really that hated, but Bruce, I wanted to ask you here on this show.
Yes.
NBA playoffs are coming up. What are you looking forward to outside of maybe the Sixers? Are there any series that you're going to be watching with excitement with the NBA playoffs?
Well,
is there anything
I have to get back to the Sixers. I'm hoping they play the Miami Heat. Even with Whiteside, I believe my sources tell me that Embiid will be back. He's not going to play the last 2 games of the season. No need to rush him back. he'll be wearing a full face mask, and he will be playing. And I think they match up best against the Miami Heat, second best against Indiana. Your thoughts?
I don't want to see him play Miami. Miami has too much veteran leadership. Their coach is actually not bad. You know, Eric Spoelstra is a good coach, been there a while. I think Dwayne Wade is scary in that he can lead a team. I think Deion Waiters can get a bucket. I think that lefty Justice Winslow out of Duke is a really good player. So I think Miami really has been Sixers killers this year. The Miami Heat have won 2 out of the 3 matchups. I really don't want to see the Miami Heat.
You'd rather see Indianapolis?
Indiana, when they did the trade of Paul George, everybody thought that franchise. I think they've named.
They thought they were tanking.
Yeah, they're like Oladipo and freaking Sabonis, but
Oladipo's having an all-star season, truly.
And that just shows you that Russell Westbrook makes players worse around him. Carmelo isn't that good. When Oladipo left the Thunder, he's gotten all this freedom to roam and to play beautifully.
Well, he's got his hands on the ball. And when you're with Russell Westbrook, you just don't get a feel.
No, you don't, because Russ will go down, he'll pop in a shot, he'll start the possession, he'll end it himself. There might be a possession in basketball when you're playing 3-on-3, you got to pass it in. Russell Westbrook's not that type of guy. But I look at Indiana. I
let me turn it around.
I would not hate
Which series? Obviously, Boston just lost Kyrie. That's a crippling blow. They lost Gordon Hayward earlier. He's not coming back.
Right.
And you're also looking at some other the Cavs, the Raptors have the Sixers numbers, but we wouldn't have to play them potentially until if the Sixers win the first 2 series, and that's a big if, they'll probably play the Raptors or the Cavs for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right. I think the Raptors are pretenders. I'd be very surprised if they grabbed a hold of that Cleveland series. I even think in the first round, Toronto might not get by so easily. I mean, we love Freddie VanVleet. He's an Illinois guy, a Wichita State guy that we pull for. Serge Ibaka, Valanciunas, they're a decent team. But I look at the Wizards. There's some sneaky teams in the Eastern Conference. Out west, you have teams like Utah. I like that the Pelicans and Anthony Davis get in. Jimmy Butler and the Wolves. So I'm excited about every series in the West outside of Golden State and Houston. The West will be a lot more fun, I think, than the Eastern Conference. Because
generally
those teams
speaking,
are very even. Outside of Houston and Golden State, we're going to see some really good series out there.
We will, and the outcome is certainly up for grabs. Look at the Wizards. The Sixers actually play the Wizards well.
Right.
They don't play Toronto that well. Again, Miami. The game against the Cavs was an epic game. Was probably the best game I saw all season.
I think I'll take
LeBron went off for 43 points. I know everybody watched that game. What are your thoughts of being in the stadium? I think as far as whether LeBron would want to come to Philly, he saw the spirit he saw the crowd. It was epic. I haven't heard a crowd that loud since Iverson left the building 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think for LeBron to think about playing with Ben Simmons, Embiid, Redick, Ilyasova, you could go right down the line. They're loaded. Fultz, the number 1 pick. That team would be loaded, and that team would be favored to go to the NBA Finals if LeBron came here. Now, we would listen to a lot of radio. Some of the Philly guys don't like LeBron. There's a lot of LeBron haters. But would you literally not want him to come to your town? If the answer is no, I think that you're being stupid.
There's only one guy that wouldn't want him to come.
Who's that?
Brett Brown.
Why is that?
Because
he would get fired. If he doesn't win, he'd be fired, right?
No, because what coaches LeBron had for a while? Mike Brown, gone. Doesn't like him. David Blatt, Turkey. He's out of the country. LeBron got him gone. LeBron's basically running with Tyronn Lue.
So you think he's a coach killer?
No, LeBron is the coach. He'll take your damn job. I mean, why would you want to coach LeBron James? LeBron James will basically tell you what's going on, what's going to happen. So, I mean,
and I'm not sure. Listen,
I
disagree.
When's the last time you've seen
Brett Brown,
an authoritative
Popovich,
coach?
Listen, Popovich obviously is a strong personality, but Brett Brown comes from the San Antonio pedigree. I think that he's respected. We don't really know, but I would hope that LeBron will respect him.
Why?
He saw, Well, I think he saw the way he put the team together.
0 playoff
He even
wins.
said that.
0.
Well, that's because he had 0 talent. By the way, LeBron, post-game comment, says they're bringing Ben Simmons along well. He's being coached well. He literally said that. So, now, what's it going to be like when you're playing for a guy?
Listen,
it's a whole different story.
You got to take LeBron James. As a fan, I mean, you got to want LeBron James.
If you don't want LeBron in your town, then you're not really a fan.
No, and who cares?
He's the best player in the
about
world.
Brett Brown? You know, you got to take LeBron James.
Right.
I definitely want LeBron James.
So where would else? So question. You have Lisa from Reading here.
Yeah.
She poses a question to you, Spencer, Jake.
What?
Name the 4 franchises in contention for LeBron James services next year. Answer and also why. The question why comes up. Go ahead.
Cleveland, because that's his home. He'll want to stay there. He has great control of
Max
the
contract,
organization.
obviously, and Cleveland.
Has young
That's
players,
a no-brainer.
Larry Nance, Clarkson, J.R. Smith, has a home. His family likes living there. That's a safe choice. I'm going to say Los Angeles Lakers. They have a very young team. Magic Johnson will probably get along with LeBron James. Luke Walton is very much a coach that James would like to play for. A player's coach, James will have a lot of control. Paul George can maybe come over with LeBron. Julius Randle is a very good player. There's a lot of pieces, and James would be a hero in L.A., okay, even though he's going to Kobe's territory. He could go to a sports city that hasn't won in a very long time, in the Houston Rockets. I mean, actually, the Astros won last year, but you look at Houston, I mean, other than Olajuwon, Kenny the Jet, Clyde Drexler.
You're going way back then.
I can't really name. I mean, Yao and McGrady and Steve Francis and Mobley were good players for Houston, but I think that James Harden is a power. I think that Capella's a very good player. Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon are snipers that he'll need. Very good supporting cast. Now, you do have James Harden and Chris Paul. So
I personally, let me jump in and say.
And then the Sixers. So
let me just.
That's my 4.
So I don't see him wanting to go to Houston, okay? You've got James Harden. You've got Chris Paul. And you put LeBron in there. I'm not sure LeBron is going to have the space he wants. And Harden, interesting personality, certainly. A somewhat distant personality. So I'm just not sure how that's going to mix. I'm not sure that there's going to be enough of a ball between Harden, Chris Paul, and LeBron. And Houston, pretty much of a one-horse town, not a great place to be. Philly, I think, offers incredible crowd support. It's the 5th largest market. I think it's a happy medium. And I think when you see what's going on with an up-and-coming team with Joel Embiid, who's a hell of a lot of fun, Simmons, who's really, certainly is mentoring at the knee of LeBron James. And looking at the supporting cast with Bellinelli, Redick, and Covington raining threes on Friday, he saw it hit him. He got hit by a Mack truck. He got hit by a Mack truck in the first. He was down by 30 points. He got
drilled.
They were drilled in the first half.
He got drilled. That team absolutely got rocked like a freaking riptide, man. I mean, Cleveland got absolutely pummeled. And then LeBron's special. I mean, the West is tough. You have Golden State out there. You have the Thunder. So I really think LeBron's going to want to stay in the East. I don't know about him going to Boston with Kyrie to reunite. I don't know. Miami's certainly a possibility. Dwayne Wade's back in Miami. Eric Spoelstra, he knows Pat Riley. He could go back there.
I just think he's already done. Yeah, I don't mean to step on you there, but I don't think he's going there. Dwayne Wade is very much at the end of his career. He's already done the Miami thing, and the Philly's a more up and coming area.
Right.
The crowd is totally juiced. Los Angeles, of course, the chance to replicate what Kobe did in L.A. Certainly from marketing opportunities. Yeah. Secondary to New York, which is a dumpster fire, where he's not going.
Right.
L.A. is the second market.
Right.
Houston, a crappy town with, interesting chemistry in it, and I say that in a negative way. I don't see him going there. Staying in Cleveland is a safe choice, but it's still Cleveland. He's already done that, and it might be time to play with Simmons and Embiid and get a ring. I think he's going to be a little frustrated. Kevin Love's all right. They had a whole changing of the guard. There was a complete meltdown in Cleveland. We can't forget that, how this year started. And you're not going to see that in Philadelphia. So I think the Sixers have a shot at getting LeBron James. Stability, an up-and-coming team, better team than the Lakers. I'm not saying better than the Rockets, but I think less complications than, certainly with Simmons is a guy more of a passive, quiet personality.
You look at the Sixers, and you really expect them to get LeBron James. I mean, that would be absurd to me. I
remember when the Phillies got the
it's not more
4 aces.
realistic. I didn't think the Sixers could be this good this quickly. So 50 wins for this team, the third seed, beating Cleveland. That's why. But go ahead.
I remember when the Phillies got the 4 aces, when they got Cliff Lee. Certainly, they got Oswalt and
Roy.
And of course, Roy Halladay, may he rest in peace. And I didn't think that would ever happen in Philly because other than kind of a fluky thing in '93, the Phillies were always a city of losers. So why not? Why not the Sixers? Why can't it be their time? I think it can be. So on that note, it is. I want to thank everybody for tuning into Rover Sports. We're here in Philly on Wednesday nights. We're on ESPN Philly Radio. I'm here with Spencer G. I'm Bruce the Sports Doc. We're signing off. And as I always say, good night and good sports.
Thank you.